So what did you see, Clive? Where were you?
Well, I was behind the goal. With Leicester supporters, and the players went off, and as he came off with the assistant referees, got some security guards with him. He got a few calls in defence damage. But I wonder if it had a bit of an effect on him. But second half, he was actually much better. But his first half performance was pretty bad.
Why was it bad? Why was it bad, Clive?
Well, I saw the sending off Robbie, and I've seen it on YouTube as well. Actually watched it on YouTube at the game, and I thought at worst it was a booking. And the reason I say that, speak as a qualified referee, Vardy was fouled as he went into the tackle. He was actually did a foul on Vardy because he was pushed in the back by Johnson, and it was that propelled him into making the bad tackle. The fact that Vardy actually didn't win the ball anyway.
Doesn't matter if you win the ball.
Well, yes, doesn't matter. But as a referee and as a professional player, Robbie, you should know that the referee should call the first defence, not the worst defence.
He didn't call it. It was a little nudge. He didn't call that, so he has to go.
Yes, he didn't call it. But what I'm saying is, he missed that foul on Vardy. It should have been a foul on Vardy.
He didn't give it. It was a tiny nudge.
Because he's a cop.
So you, as a former referee, you don't think it was a red card? Fine. What about the penalty?
I've seen them given. I've seen them not given. Wasn't in an unnatural position because he was on the floor. His hand was in the air. The ball moved to the hand, not the hand to the ball.
So was it a penalty or not?
I personally wouldn't have given it.
So you wouldn't have given it. You're a Leicester fan. You wouldn't have given a red card to Vardy. You would have given it a penalty.
As a referee, I wouldn't have given that because it was ball to hand rather than hand to ball.
Well,
it wasn't deliberate handball.
It's amazing how opinions is great. Listen, your opinion is great, and you're a former referee. I was with Howard Webb this afternoon. He thought it was a straight red, and he thought it was a penalty. So it's amazing how referees' opinions differ.
There you go. Dale Dublin thought the referee got the 100% wrong. But
there you go. It's a game of opinions, isn't it, mate, Clive? It's a game of opinions.
It is, but unfortunately, all the dubious decisions went against Leicester today. But you know what? We savage team of the 1990s with that blue shirt on. We fought back, and we carried on. And we love.
Yeah, that's why they're champions of England. Just before you go, Clive, just one quick one on Craig Pawson, because there's a bit of history here with because he missed Marcus Rocco. We got a yellow card at Palace when many people were saying it should have been a red card, myself included. I think Robbie, I think most people listen to this program. One of the big things, it's an age-old debate, but as fans, to the idea that yet again, and the big clubs will ring the switchboards now and they'll say he's talking nonsense, but the big clubs are getting the decisions.
But with all disrespect to Stoke today, Stoke aren't what I would call a big club, and neither are Leicester.
No, but you know my point. You won the Premier League, but you're not one of the big five, should we say? What I'm saying is, Manchester United, Marcus Rocco should have been sent off. Jamie Vardy today, it's debatable. Hours and hours. There are many people who are saying it should have been a red card. He got given a red card. So what I'm saying is, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, they get the big decisions their way.
Yeah, that's a shock, isn't it? Yeah, Manchester United getting decisions going their way, but there you go. Probably one of the reasons why the big clubs win the Premier League most years. Because they do tend to get these very marginal decisions. But there you go. You just have to accept it. We don't like it. Robbie Savage thought the sending off today, 3,000 Leicester fans that were there thought it wasn't a sending off. I like to think myself as a fair person. If I thought it was a sending off, I would have said it was a sending off. But what 3,000 Leicester fans saw today was on Jamie Vardy, which the referee didn't give. And that was what we were really upset about. And that's why this Pawson got a coin thrown at him at half time.
No, you can't say that's why you got a coin thrown at him. You can't throw coins at a referee because you're not happy with decisions.
No, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's why it happened. But let me have a little bet with you, Robbie. Mr. Pawson won't be getting the FA Cup final this year.
No, I don't think he will.
I would guarantee it. He's one of the poorer quality referees. And, unfortunately, there are a number of those in the Premier League, and very frustrating as a fan when you've got inconsistencies like Mawson not sending off Rocco in one game for a worse tackle. If it was consistent, you can live with it, but it's a lack of consistency. I guarantee that when he looked at that tackle, he thought, Vardy's gone in with both feet.
He did go with both feet. He did go with both feet.
Calm down, Robbie. What's your blood pressure, Mel, son? Listen, I thought you went to with one club. There you go. But consistency always with these referees.
I do want to say as well, I've got to pick you up, Clive, on that outrageous comment you made about that's why he got coined. I mean, that's just out of order. He got coined because he gave a decision against my club. That's outrageous.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying why it happened. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's what happened. And it wasn't just that decision. It was he made. Let me give you an example. In the first half, there were 9 fouls by Leicester players. 9. Okay.
If them fouls, hang on, Clive, if them fouls, as a referee, you should know, if them fouls are worthy of a yellow card or red, then you give it.
But when you actually book the wrong player, as he did in one of the incidents, I think he booked, for a foul by another player. He will look at that as much as day tonight, and he will be embarrassed.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's going to be a great match today tonight. There's so many great talking points.
Just one final point.
You have to be quick.
Remember this. Do you remember playing in a game for Leicester City against Atletico Madrid?
Yeah. The referee was awful.
And Pawson was as bad today.
You may have listened during that exchange between Clive and Robbie. I was crying with laughter here in the studio because everybody here on the Five Live production team were watching a screen where we could see Robbie whilst he was in LA studios today because he has another broadcasting commitment, and he's eating a burger whilst he's broadcasting. Right? And as you were talking to Clive, you took a massive bite of the burger. If podcast listeners are listening right now, go back about a minute and a half and listen, because I think you can even hear the crunch of the iceberg lettuce. Do me a favour. You started rowing. Do me a favour. Stop talking. Go on, news. I can eat the rest of it. 6:34. Let's get the news and Rob Watts. Online smart fun entertainment. This is BBC 5 Live.
The Ministry of Justice says 2 wings at Birmingham Prison were badly damaged during yesterday's riot. 240 inmates are being moved to other parts of the country following the disturbance. It took 12 hours to bring it under control. Unions and Swissport officials will meet on Tuesday to try to resolve a dispute involving baggage handlers and check-in staff at airports across the UK. Workers are planning to walk out 48 hours before Christmas over the conditions. Turkey's president has blamed Kurdish separatists for a bomb attack that's killed 13 soldiers and injured many more. The city of Kayseri. Thousands of people in eastern Aleppo are waiting to hear if evacuations from the Syrian city will begin again today. Rebel groups are letting people leave 2 government-held towns in the northwest of the country. And police in South Lanarkshire are searching for a man who stabbed 2 teenagers in Uddingston. The attack took place shortly before midnight. Both teenagers were taken to hospital. The 16-year-old is still there. The 17-year-old has been released. Now let's get the sport with Nick Hatton.
Thank you. More on another Premier League win for leaders Chelsea in a moment. First, let's go straight to the Hawthorns. We're into the second half of West Bromwich Albion at home to Manchester United. Pat Murphy's watching.
United lead through a glancing header from Ibrahimovic, after 5 minutes. He lost Macaulay. Lovely deft header. Really hit the bar by the fingertips of Foster in West Brom goal, who's been outstanding. Really, West Brom need to show some of their usual aggression at home. Been rather too passive so far in this first half. It's West Brom 0, Manchester United 1.
Thank you, Pat. Now, leaders Chelsea continued their fine form.
Costa's header across goal in it. Well done, Costa.
Yeah, Diego Costa's goal earning his side a 1-0 victory at Crystal Palace. It equals a club record.
Manchester United
11
won.
back-to-back league wins. Antonio Conte's men go 9 points clear at the top.
Cross goal in it.
For sure, this way is a fantastic way, and to continue to take 2 points in every game. But this league is very tough. To continue this way, it won't be easy, but we want to work more to continue.
Sunderland are off the bottom of the table after their 1-0 win at home to Watford. Hull dropped to the foot of the table after their 1-0 defeat at West Ham. There was late drama at Stoke as Leicester came from 2-0 down to draw 2-2, despite having Jamie Vardy sent off for a two-footed challenge. Daniel Amarty's late leveller saving a point for manager Claudio Ranieri.
We made a fantastic performance. I want to say thank you to my players and also to our fans. Could be a turning point today, no? But we have to wait and see next matches.
Elsewhere, Middlesbrough were 3-0 winners at home to Swansea. Celtic extended their lead at the top of the Scottish Premiership to 11 points with a 2-1 win at home to Dundee, while third-placed Aberdeen were beaten 2-1 at Ross County. A late long-range penalty from Owen Williams gave Leicester an 18-16 victory over Munster in the European Champions Cup, while Exeter were 20 points to 12 winners in Bordeaux. On 5 Live Sports Extra right now, you can hear commentary of Connacht against Wasps. 66 not out from debutant Liam Dawson and 60 from Adil Rashid helped England into a good position on day 2 of the 5th test against India in Chennai. England were all out for 477, while India reached 60 for no wicket at stumps. Here's Dawson.
We've got to take wickets, but I mean, you do that through building pressure. And that's what we're going to do as a group. You know, as long as you just keep building Dockwells up, and the mistakes will come, and we do have to take our chances.
And you can hear commentary of day 3 on 5 Live Sports Extra tomorrow morning from 3:45. The 65 favourite, you know what I mean, Harry, won the long walk hurdle at Ascot. John Higgins is through to the final of the Scottish Open snooker in Glasgow. He came from 5-1 down to beat Judd Trump 6-5. He'll play the winner of tonight's semi-final match between China's Yu Delu and Hong Kong's Marco Fu. Short track speed skater Elise Christie won the 1,000-metre gold medal at the World Cup event in South Korea, while Olympic skeleton champion Lizzie Yarnold took silver in the second race of the World Cup season at Lake Placid.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
Travel time. First off, fog is still causing problems for airports in London and also Manchester. A lot of them are saying delays are highly likely there, so check with your airline before setting off. Don't contact the airport itself. On the roads in Berkshire on the M25 anti-clockwise, there's a lane closed and queuing traffic because of an accident before junction 15 with the M4. Congestion across junction 16. Finally, in Hampshire on the M27 heading westbound, there's very slow traffic because of an accident earlier on involving 6 cars between junction 12 with the M275 for Portsmouth and junction 11 with the A27 Fareham. All lanes have reopened though, so it should start to improve. But what's 5 Live Travel?
This is your football station. Our feast of festive football is underway on Sunday. 5 Live Sports starts from 11:55 as we build up to QPR against Aston Villa in the Championship. Then from 4, Manchester City against Arsenal in the Premier League. Can Pep turn the tide? Plus,
Burger. If podcast listeners are listening right now, just rewind, just go back about a minute and a half and listen, because I think you can even hear the crunch of the iceberg.
Monday night, which side of Liverpool will be celebrating? Red or blue? We'll be at Goodison for the Merseyside derby. Everton against Liverpool. The best festive football on BBC 5 Live. This is the UK's biggest football debate. This is 606 with Robbie Savage and Jason Mohammed on BBC 5 Live.
We thought we'd have a little bit of shaky seeing as Christmas coming soon. One of the greatest Christmas records of all time. Should Jamie Vardy have seen red against Stoke? Is a question that was put out on social media tonight. Tony Jacobs said you don't go flying in with both feet off the ground and expect to stay on. It was a deserved red. Michael Goddard says that will be reversed when he watches it back. Poor decision. Mike says the refereeing across all football in England is shocking. Who would want to be a referee when there's so much scrutiny? And Steve says, I've said it many times before to you, Robbie and Jason, referees are a joke. They want respect, but they have no idea how inconsistent they are. They do not even have to justify their actions, which could then get the manager the sack. The ref should be moved immediately from games and asked to say why Vardy got a red but not Rojo. If he can't explain it, then he should be demoted to a championship or EFL game. Thank you very much, Steve. Keep them coming, please. 85058 on the text, and you can call us 0500 909 693 if you want to come on the radio and have your say. We'll go to Louis, who's a South Wales-based Leeds United fan, after we go to Roland, who's called us from Sevenoaks. He's a Palace fan. Hello, Roland.
Hello, yes.
Good evening.
I'm unhappy Crystal Palace fan. I've supported the club for many years. I've seen many ups and downs and some success and a lot of disappointment. But this year, 2016, has been really awful. They've got the worst league record of all 92 clubs. The last 10 games, they've won one game, drawn one game, lost 8. And yet still the chairman, Steve Parish, is supporting Alan Pardew and shows no sign of until they do, they will continue to struggle and they will be relegated if they leave the situation unchanged.
Roland, I was there against Manchester United, and yeah, you could say Crystal Palace were unlucky with some of the decisions. Rojo should have seen red. Handball from Ibrahimovic to the goal, but they did get away with a couple. Ledley should have given away a penalty for handball. Matt's goal was onside, although people will say Rojo should have been on the pitch. So I thought United deserved to win, but after Zaha's performance up at Hull, when he was absolutely brilliant, he was stuck up front in a 4-4-2 against United. I couldn't work that out.
Well, yeah, I think this season there's been a lot of games where they've lost by a very narrow margin, and today against Chelsea, they played very well up until Chelsea scored. But
just wait there, Roland. At the Hawthorns. Pat Murphy.
Manchester United too. Clever piece of work, a little flick, created the space for himself. He shot across Foster. Cleanest contact that Ibrahimovic has ever made with that trusty right foot, but it won't matter. I thought it was superb the amount of space he made for himself on the edge of the box. It's West Brom 0.
And there's been another goal in the Midlands in the Championship game. Mike Williams.
And joy for Gianfranco Zola in his first match as Birmingham City manager. They have the lead here against Brighton and Hove Albion. Simple as you like. David Davis lifted an aerial ball over the Brighton defence, and striker Lucas Juktovic rifled a bullet header past David Stockdale. That's woken them up here at St Andrews. Birmingham lead by a goal to 0.
Mike, thank you. Roland, let's go back to you. Now, we've heard some rumours. That's all they are at the moment, right? So you're a Palace fan. You're probably closer to it with message boards and fanzines and podcasts, whatever. We've heard some rumours about some Palace fans fighting amongst themselves, the pro-Pardew camp and the anti-Pardew camp. Can you shed any light on this, Roland?
I haven't heard anything about that. I know, obviously, I think Alan Pardew's lucky because he's an ex-Palace player that was in the 1990 Cup final team. I think supporters have given him far more support because of that connection than they would. So they've never played for Palace when they were players. But I just think they must be coming to realise now that this bad one's going on and on and on. Funny enough, Chris Coleman was at the ground today on TV duty. Perhaps it would have been an ideal opportunity for. Was at the ground today on. the chairman to have a chat with him, because whoever they brought in, I mean, let's face it, they couldn't do any worse, because their statistics this year are actually terrible.
Yeah, what are you telling us, Roland, just before you go? We got lots of calls. What are you telling us? Are you saying sack Pardew?
Yes, I mean, I think if they don't sack him, they will be relegated this season. Definitely.
Thank you, Roland. Let's go to Louis, who wants to talk about Leeds United. Hello, Louis.
Hi, guys. Yeah. I actually rang up in August.
I remember, Louis. I remember. You said to go up.
And I said, because Monk, we had lost to Forest that day, and Monk was receiving a bit of criticism on social media. Rang up to back him.
I remember.
I just want to say, like, you know, what a run we've gone on. We lost to Huddersfield after that international break at home. And since then, we've won 7 out of the last 9 at Ellen Road. We're doing well away from home as well. Working down in Swansea at the moment. I get a lot of their supporters wishing Monk well, you know, Pablo Hernandez and Carl Bartley, and all saying they'll have them back in a heartbeat, which is always good for them to say, especially with the form they're in. I've got a question for you mainly, Robbie. At the moment, quite a lot of youngsters, a lot of backup players. We've got a few key injuries, Liam Bridcut, Pablo Hernandez, all to come back. Gary's thinking, because we're in such good form, dilemma when Bridcut and Hernandez and so on are back to full fitness, will he stick with this young team that's doing so well, or will he ease these new guys back in?
Yeah, how long have they been out for?
Bridcut's been out since about September. Yeah. He bought him in, made him captain of the club. He had a good loan spell last season, then he got injured. But we've got Ronaldo Vieira, this 18-year-old. He signed him last season. He's just been... He's brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
See, with the run of form you're in, I think it would, you know, to change the side would be very harsh on the players who are in this team. But if Bridcut just missed one game and they have a good result, I'd put him back in. Excuse me. He was suspended or injured for Stoke, and then they had a couple of wins, and Mark Hughes didn't put him back in for a couple of games, and then he did put him back in. So I think it's one of those, if the team's doing well and one of your main players has been out for a while, then you stick with your team. I think if an important player's missed 1 or 2 games and the team wins, I think you play your most important players. But it's hard to stick with the team at the minute because Bridcut's been out for a while, as you say.
It's kind of good, to be honest. We've crept up and it's gone not so much unnoticed in the media, but there's been a lot more attention on like Brighton and Huddersfield, which rightly so, you know, they're doing great things. So at the moment, I think a lot of Leeds fans are thinking, you know, if we can just keep quietly going about our business. I went up back up a couple of weekends ago for my birthday. We played Villa at home, so I went to the game, and for the first time in about racing was there. There's such a good feel around Ellen Road, and there's an actual feeling of togetherness from the manager, the players. The players are all in it together. It's a team. The fans. There was 33,000 at Ellen Road a couple of weeks ago, and when we scored the first goal, it was absolutely brilliant. Of course, typically this is the first season I haven't renewed my season ticket in 7 years, but you know, we'll write that one off. But no, it's a great feeling, and hopefully we can keep going, and we've stuck with him.
Brilliant, Louis. Thank you very much. A happy Leeds United fan there, Jay. But now, Jay, guess what? It's time for a bit of this.
I missed this last week.
This is 606, Robbie Savage's Designated Drivers on BBC 5 Live.
Hey, man, listen, last week, Jay, you let me down. You got your own Wales, where obviously you play music, don't you? You play music,
yeah, every day, Monday to Thursday.
Yeah, last week on the show you said that you liked hearing the band Heart, but it was actually Roxette.
Was it?
Yeah,
is that true?
Yeah.
Did I get that wrong?
You got that wrong. So you like listening to it was actually Roxette. So we thought this week, mate, would make it slightly easy for you. And we got a bit of a Christmas thing. So ready for your first song?
Yeah, go for it.
Here we go. You know what this is?
Yeah, it's Feliz Navidad.
Yeah, by...
I don't know it's by, though.
It's by... Wait for it. Jose Feliciano. Yeah, by Jose Feliciano.
Great pronunciation. Great pronunciation.
There you go. Yeah, so you know what Feliz Navidad
Feliz
means?
Navidad, yeah, it means Happy Christmas.
Yeah. Esther, daughter Fiona and I have been to see Hearts be part of this, so it's been Hearts' new manager Ian Castle's first home game at Tynecastle, and it finished 1-1. Tom, I've driven me and the old man to Ellen Road after getting back home from university yesterday. Carl, I've spent 22 months in New Zealand. I got straight off the plane, and the old man has driven me to watch Wrexham play Sutton. And I think Sutton won, didn't they? 1-0. Pippo Garibaldi, I'm on my way to White Hart Lane to see Burnley. I set off on my bike at 9 a.m. with it being 4 p.m. Sunday kickoff. Wow. William Lodge, I've been to pick my mate up and have driven us to Walsall to watch the mighty Bantams. Feliz Navidad.
If only you could see. If you are watching on the webcam, Robbie's just done a little dance.
So any ideas?
No ideas whatsoever.
Feliz Navidad.
Well, it's Happy Christmas. So it could be about Boxing Day fixtures. It could be about absolutely anything. Couldn't it? Happy Christmas.
Hey, Jay, we got a fantastic commentator karaoke coming after as well. I think.
Is it better than John Murray?
It's John Murray again.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. Okay, and I've got 2 more records to come.
Yeah, you have got 2 more records. You got a bit of Roxette.
Okay, Feliz Navidad. Right there.
Or Hard.
Russell, are we sure? Can I just ask the gallery? Are we sure it was Roxette and not Hard? It was. Right, okay. They're humiliating me when it comes to my music knowledge. Robbie, we've got Russell on the line, who's a West Ham fan.
Yeah, Russell.
Hello, Russ.
Good evening, Jason. Good evening, Robbie.
Good evening, Russell, my man. What do you want to talk about?
Basically, the point you made about the booing of the team, is it good and should you do it, etc. First of all, I want to say the whole city today should have beaten us. They should have beaten us 4 or 5-1 at least. And the reason, and I don't boo, but I can appreciate people who do, is because of the frustration, because the team today lack cohesion. We can't even get the basics right. We are a scared team at the London Stadium, scared to make mistakes. We've got players who are playing last year. They are bad this year, and it's the crowd's frustration, and we can't quite see why it's not working for us. Forget the blame in the stadium. That's nothing. It's a piece of grass. It should be able to play anywhere, and that's a smoke screen. And I think a lot of the fans now are just thinking, why are we underperforming? I know we're at 13th or whatever, and we just won a couple of games, but we are underperforming. I don't know if we overperformed last year, but we are lacking cohesion. We're lacking a shape. We're lacking that unity. We're lacking lots of things, and I think that's what the crowd are getting frustrated about.
Do you know what, Russell? I disagree with booing your own side, but the example I would say is Everton the other night, right? You can see how much a crowd can do for a side. Everton were 1-0 down. They were giving the ball away. And then all of a sudden they won a few tackles, and that Everton crowd, the Goodison Park crowd, got behind the side, and it galvanised the side. You imagine if they started booing and chanting, it would have, so I honestly believe that crowds can have a massive influence on the team. We've heard the 12th man, and I've got to say, when Everton beat Arsenal, that atmosphere lifted those players. And I agree with you to a point, Russell, today that Hull and Mbakani missed a great chance, didn't he? Hit the inside the post. I think Mark Noble inside of his own post. It could have been. You could have been down, and then you got the penalty. You've won the game. So it's.
Robert, you said it. You said about Everton making some tackles. We didn't do anything, man. And I totally understand what you're saying about the crowd should get the players going. And there's got to be a two-way thing. And
I agree.
The players need to actually take. There is nobody on that pitch to take responsibility now. We're talking about Mark Noble. How good he was last year, he is as bad as he is this year. He should not be in our team. He should be a substitute.
To be fair, though, mate, he's got your 2 winning penalties.
Hold on a second, Robbie. Hold on a second. He's done 2 things in 2 games. He's taken 2 penalties. He missed the first one last Wednesday night, and he got a rebound.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he did today. So if he's getting paid that money to take a spot kick, he's nothing else. He did the only thing he did well on Wednesday. Him and Winston Reid were going at it, and that galvanised the team. Now, we talk about Mark Noble needs to be in the side because he's a West Ham player, he's a local lad. I don't care. West Ham, we are aspiring to be a better team. Just because he comes from the East End of London doesn't mean he should be guaranteed a place. And it's clear, Kyoto is not, he's a great defender. He should be in the midfield, he should be driving it. And Mark Noble, unfortunately, isn't good enough to get in the team at the moment. And we could go round the side. We could have made 10 substitutions at half time. That's how bad we were. And we are now, the crowd next to me, there's people fighting about should Player go, should Player stay. And there are spirits climbing them down because there's infighting now because of what's going on the pitch.
we need the players to stand up and say, do you know what? We weren't very good. And Slaven, we love Slaven to pieces, and he's doing a lot of that. But you know what? The players need to take some responsibility and say, this isn't good enough. We are better than this, and they need it around the pitch. And too many players are having too many off days. And I agree, we shouldn't be. But you know what? It gets to the point where the players need to know how bad they're playing. And second half, once we scored the goal, next 15 minutes, we didn't look too bad. But you know what? We should have been out of sight before that. Hull City should have been out of sight. 4-5, that wouldn't have been embarrassing. We were sitting there thinking, is this really happening against Hull City? And I feel sorry for Mike Feely, because you know what? He's on the way home tonight thinking, how on earth did our team lose that? They should have murdered us. They battered us.
I was watching in the studio. Russell, and I thought to myself, Hull City had lots of chances. It's your club. You have every right to boo, but I just don't think it's right, especially when your team is winning. You can't boo your own players. Right, let's go back to Pat Murphy at the Hawthorns. And Pat, somebody's just tweeted me to say somebody just slapped Rojo in the face. What did you see, Pat?
Well, first of all, it's still 2-0 to Manchester United, both goals to Ibrahimovic. Rondon and Rojo got involved in the tussle, some shoulder charging and some pushing. Rondon pushed the centre-back away, Rojo. Phil Jones got involved then. He pushed Rondon out of the way. All got a little bit handbags-ish, if I can use that particular phrase. A lot of squaring up from various players. In the end, both Rondon and Rojo were booked. I think this might be the only way West Brom are going to get back into this game, if they can up the temperature and get some aggression into their play. It's still West Brom 0, Manchester United 2.
Pat, thank you very much indeed. And there's a game in the Championship as well in the evening kickoff. Birmingham City leading Brighton and Hove Albion 1-0 at St Andrews. We'll go to Mike Williams, keep you right up to date on that one throughout 6:06. If you want to call us, have your say on what was a thrilling day in the Premier League. Only the 4-3 o'clock kickoffs, but goodness me, there's so many talking points. 0500 909 693. If your team played in the EFL today, or even non-league, or even Scotland in the Scottish Premiership, we'd love to hear from you. 0500 909 693. Give us a call. Let's go to Steve in Pontefract. He's got a great footballing story he wants to share with the nation. Hello, Steve.
Hiya.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yourself?
Good, thank you.
What happened today, Steve?
Well, I've been to watch a Everstic First Division North game between Goal AFC and the Vice Chairman and Trafford FC. And I've been watching football for 50-odd years, and for the first time ever, I've seen a linesman who was in the opposite half of the game give a penalty. Absolutely correct decision. The poor referee was unfortunately wrong side when the incident happened. Never seen it ever in my life. I just wonder what your thoughts on it was. Should the referees who have a very, very, very difficult job, expect it to be a three-man effort and not just a one-man effort, because I think so many referees tell linesmen just to do ins and outs nowadays. Never seen it in 50-odd years. Just wonder what your thoughts are.
Well, that sounds great, but how did he communicate to the referee there was a penalty? What happened?
Just kept flagging and flagging and flagging. The referee ignored our appeals initially. The liner just stood his ground. The Trafford broke away. He still stood on the halfway line flagging and flagging, and the referee came over. Gave the penalty. Trafford obviously weren't very happy about it, but I think they knew it was a penalty, and the right decision at the end of the day.
Well, that is pretty amazing, isn't it, Steve? Because we've had many discussions on this programme. I think we had one last week where I was saying to John Hartson, listen, why can't the linesmen, or the assistant referees as they now like to be called, why can't they help the referee out once in a while?
They do.
But they seem to be too afraid to do it, Rob. They don't do it consistently, do they?
I don't think they're afraid. I think they're instructed.